Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is Grand Arena first matchup, Season 22. First up, I want to do a quick recap of the last season of Grand Arena, the last round. Darth Revan beats his Darth Revan. He has the advantage on Malik. That's why I like them on defense. Looks like his JKR loses up against my Grievous, but you can see he does not have the relic on Jolie, and that is why that relic is so important. Traya here loses to Nute. That's kind of a surprise, but it looks like the gear is low-ish, maybe gear 12 all around. But what I really wanted to see is this Kira team that I was testing out. It's basically an updated version of that old Kira, Old Republic timeout team, and so it beats the Night Sisters to start. That's a good result. I don't know if the Zetas were there though. I wish the Zetas were shown in this image, but the gear looks like it's all a mix of gear 11 and 12. Survive against the Sith, and what I like is it's just the three man who have survived here: Kira, Quill, and IG-11. They survive against Sith, Old Republic. That's a good result, even though those aren't great teams, but considering the disadvantage that they're up against, they did good. His Vader surprisingly loses up against... No, I guess it's not that surprising, because he would have been landing the dots. The speeds were such that we probably got tenacity up before that happened and messed up his plans. Dengar loses up against Kira. He didn't take the best teams up against Kira, and Kira ended up surviving that match. In the second round, I don't think there's too much to see in rounds 2 and round 3. Mandos beat the Bounty Hunters. That's a decent result. JTR loses up against Nute. That's actually really nice considering the relic disadvantage they were at. Kind of curious how that happened. Bad Batch losing up against Mon Mothma, but they're low gear. And then his Mon Mothma losing up against my Shaak Ti, but that's another gear situation. Round 3 here. Troopers losing up against the Mandos. It's a decent result, but there's some lower gear troopers. Then Rolo losing to Nute. Kira losing to Nute. Yep. And then Nute did pretty good in these final battles. But we are now going to take a quick look at my current matchup against my opponent here, Lorne. So Lorne here is running Rey, I believe, and Negotiator in Arena. Those are his Arena teams. I don't want to jump in here. All right, anyway, we're not going to look at that stuff. We're going to quickly look and very fast break down the hot bot results here. Smaller guild, decent lifetime banners. Kind of surprised his clears are under 100 with his lifetime banners at 700. Zetas, he has an advantage even on the gear 13, but he has a bunch more gear 12. That's why we're getting matched up. That's where his bloat is at. More 6-dot mods, but you can tell not even close to me with the 15 plus and 10 plus or the 20 plus. Like these are bad mods, and this is what happened when you make bad 5-dot mods into 6-dot mods, which I highly advise against. A ton of tier 7 relics and a bunch of tier 5. So there's a bunch of bloat here in his roster, which should give us some advantage. And then you see he's missing some key characters here, like Luke. His Watt is weak, his Nest is weaker, and then here's his fleets. I have speed advantages on both of those ships. Jump in here, quickly doing the defense. Here is what I set down. I am not looking forward to this. I'm in Division 2 now, and there's just going to be so many battles. This is going to take a long time, and it incentivizes me to just overpower him so this doesn't take as long. Because these are 5 minutes apiece, essentially, if I don't do it quickly. But Resistance Heroes, that's standard. Night Sisters is standard. This one I started doing semi-recently. My Mon Mothma standard. And then we have Bam here with Quill and IG11. Which could have been kept on off for offense, or I probably should have kept it for offense. That would have been a nice. I don't need it against this opponent, but I kind of want it as a crew counter against anybody who has SLKR. Top territory here, we got CLS, Bosk, Empire, and Darth Revan. This is more to look scarier than it is. I want him to use up some good teams. Back wall, Padme and Grievous, which are standard. Nute used to be on the front wall. I'm just starting to put Nute on the back wall. I feel like he causes more problems. And then these two teams who have gotten some surprise results in previous Grand Arenas, so I'll continue to use them, but they're kind of filler. Now, here's what we got to go up against. When we hit Thanksgiving, I'm no longer doing the new account in these Grand Arena streams. We got Bastila, Jolie, Qui-Gon. That is weird. Kind of a waste of Jolie. Then we have a weak Bosk team, but it's fine. Jedi Knight Revan here. Jango, Jedi Knight Luke. It's a good mix of teams. None of them, I have to be careful against each of those, but we're not going to hit those first. On the bottom territory here, got Hux, Phasma, Geos, and then Nute. Alright. We're fine. So we're going to just, I have Nest, right? Do I have Nest? This can be Nest soloed. Change to the big screen. None of these characters do enough damage or put down enough debuffs where I need to be concerned. This will just take a minute, but Nest will handle this no problem. I don't like how much turn meter I'm getting. I shouldn't be taking this many turns. This is because he has bad mods. Executioner is really the only scary one here. So I'm going for him first. Look at this. I have no speed on my Nest. I shouldn't be taking this many turns. And this is already going to be my third turn. That is absurd. Do I want the stun? I kind of want the stun. Let's try and get the stun. Because Fox was going to take the turn next, and he's really the one that was the worry here. Oof. It's taking a bit longer than I thought, though. As soon as Fox goes, we'll hit it, set it on auto. I can't believe how many turns we're taking. It's just because Phasma gives turn meter with the marching orders or whatever that special is called. This is probably a sign of things to come. Okay. Now Geos here. We're just doing Vader. There's no. I don't really Maybe I don't want to do this. Well, we need to do it just to see how this will be 3-man style. Actually, and we know his. We're gonna do. Do I want my Thrawn? I'm thinking it's either Thrawn or gonna be Shore Trooper. So I'm just thinking it through. I think I'm gonna do Thrawn. And then we have Hux, which will probably do Han. He must be close to SLKR. I should probably have taken a look at that. I know he doesn't have SLKR, but... We only have, what, a single debuff? We're not... I'm going to just chuck it over here at Spy. 'Cause I knew we would take Spy out. If there were more debuffs on Alpha, I would have threw it there, but there just wasn't. It would not have been a successful throw. I wish we would have got... Do I want to fracture or go? We'll swap. This might be the wrong move. But we'll do this. Alpha's about to heal. Oh, come on, let me land some debuffs. We can at least get a stun because we got the ability block. I'm going to hit Sun Fact to bring down the health pool. And now we'll chuck it. There we go. I think we get the banner there. It's a little close. Don't take my banner. Whatever. Let's just do it. Let's just end this. Alright, Nute. What do I do with Nute in 3v3? I do something. Wampa. I do that Wampa thing with Nute. It's probably not the best use of my Wat Tambor. But it's what we do here. I like that I don't have to think about it too much. It does well. And it doesn't cost me anything I really want to use. And actually, now that there has been that GL nerf, it's even more guilt-free than it used to be. We got our tank tech on B2. We got our weapon tech over on Wampa. We got our dazes. In 3v3, I don't worry about getting rid of the extortion. I'm gonna swap Nute. Beautiful. Because of the weapons tech, we don't have to worry about the revive. We lost the days on Dooku, but usually that's what we go for. We have a shot at getting full banners, but I don't think we are. I think one more turn from B2 and we might get full banners. So we'll slow play it a second. No, we don't get it. Close enough. I guess someone else didn't have full banners either. Yeah, Hux. This is what, Rebel Fighters for feats? Feats, I didn't check if they had the undersized fleet feat, but I hope they get rid of that. It feels like the kind of mistake CG is going to make, where we need to do those undersized fleet battles, but now that there's a bunch of executors, that's not going to be possible, especially for higher end players, and this is going to make people frustrated. Maybe CG will anticipate this problem. I'm betting against it. What was it going to do? Oh, I was going to do Rebels. Maybe we are going to see Crew like on this back wall. He does feel like he's had a decent amount of progress towards SLKR. I think we'll do, that's big. I want Wedge Lead, Han, and Chewie. I think I usually do the CLS one against Hux, but I put CLS on defense. Alright. Sith Trooper first. He's got the cleanse, so we would need to do it anyway. Come on. Alright. Be enough. Perfect. In all likelihood, we might get a Wedge might survive. Alright. Good enough. Let's check out this back wall. Oh, I want to use Fennec at some point. We won't, that's one of the big goals here. We need to find an excuse to Fennec. Who I have not touched once since the Marquee. I don't even... Who did they pair her up with in that Marquee event? Can't remember. Alright, we're going to start off with Kylo real quick. This is the whole reason why we relic Kylo, is to just handle all these old Republic battles. And especially now that I'm in Division 2 and there's an extra team, there's been that Grand Arena shakeup. This is one of the best relics you can get, regardless of going after Galactic Legends, because it gives one character that lets you solo an entire squad. What am I doing here? I'm just kind of zoning out. And blind. Blind really should be a debuff that is prioritized. Kind of want to know that kind of information. As long as he has healing immunity, we're doing the big hit. Because we want to take advantage of that time where he's not getting that protection back up. I'm going to land healing immunity again. And just go at him. Let's get retribution back up. Probably should be using that on mission. All right, let's keep it moving. I feel like we're making good time. This is my first Grand Arena Division 2, though. I think it's just one extra squad, maybe two extra squads. I don't know. Maybe we'll do Fennec here up against Poggle. I want to start easy. This is where I would use Bam if I didn't put him on defense. Right here on crew. And we need to decide between Bad Batch or Shaak Ti. Did I put Shaak Ti on defense? No, I wouldn't have done that. No, I would not have done that, right? Let's look at the 5 first. Yeah, I got my clones. I don't like Shaak Ti on defense because nests can handle her if you have a strong enough nest. Well, this guy didn't have a strong enough nest. I did not plan out my strategy in advance because I don't want to dig through his Grand Arena history trying to the first Grand Arena of his season, too much time has passed. Like a month has passed. So there could be new characters. New characters geared or unlocked, and the strategy could change. So you can get some decent information. It's just not worth the time. I'm probably going to do Rex over here. We need to use something decent up against Jedi Knight Revan. I kind of want something decent against most of these teams. I can JTR. We'll just do the JTR right now. Let's foresight on the tank. Strip the turn meter from Bast. And then I want to get myself to an advantage quickly, so we'll hit Zam. Yeah. This is why I never liked the Bosk relic, but now I have crazy strong bounty hunters from going after the Executor. I'm just gonna auto this. trying to think if there's anything for me to rant about. I had a decent rant in the last talk video about the audio bug that's been driving me crazy. Conquest is a chore that I ignore all day and just ram in the evening, and I hate it. There was that announcement today, I think from a data mine for some sort of pack that might make Conquest easier, where I think they're trying to monetize Conquest more effectively. But I think it's probably better to opine on it once it's been released in game. I really think we're going to use Rex here. I just want to take a look. Alright, let's just start here. Let's start with Shaak Ti. Do I have this team set up? With that potential pack, I'm just trying to think about how it would work. I didn't watch Arnold's video about it. I don't know if there's enough information. I think it might just be graphics. Because if it's... The only thing I can imagine it doing, because it's not like... What sucks about Conquest is the number of feats. So it's not like the pack that you're buying would eliminate how many feats there are in game. It would... I think it might be an energy accelerant. But that's just going to save you some crystals. And I'm fine spending the crystals to beat that event. Like, whatever. The problem is the amount of attempts that it takes to get through all those feats. And I don't see how that pack is going to address that. Let's bring down all the stacks on B1, because that's where the damage is coming from. We're going to hit Droidica now, because we got to... What I want to do is try and time it so both these guys go down close to the same time. Okay. See, it's a little scary. Alright. I haven't decided how I'm handling crew yet. We have all my Jedi still at my disposal. I would like to split them up as much as possible, which shouldn't be a problem. Let's do Fennec now. I think we're just going to throw in Fennec as a solo, because that's the whole idea of her character. Mine's still at 3 stars. I left the Zeta off. What I've realized is there's a number of recent characters that the Zetas are either luxury Zetas or maybe not worth having, like Quill's one of those, or IG-11s, whichever. I forget which of the two. One of them's a little iffy. There's other ones, like Resistance Hero Poe is a little iffy. And a lot of those characters I put the Zeta on right away. And what I wanted to do with Fennec is I want to do a little bit more A/B testing and just kind of see what and I don't remember what her Zeta does. Let's just go in. With the way her character works, she should be better without anybody else. This might be too low stars for that to be true, but it's just a Gear 12 Poggle and Soldier. So we are going to Give it a shot. Which one is this? The shield generator. I don't think there's any... I'm trying to see if there's any reason not... Or if there's any reason to do the basic first. No, there's not. I'm going to hit soldier though because he doesn't have the shield generator. So we'll more likely get through the protection. Is this health or weapons? This is health, right? Yeah. That's nice. We're gonna die though. We're definitely gonna die. Next time we'll try her with some other characters, but 3 stars is looking like a no for Fennec Shand. That was just Poggle. But honestly, that was better than throwing in Fennec against a stronger team and not knowing how weak she was. Disappointed. I feel like we've been wasting time. Let's just burn through this. We're gonna do Rex here. We were making much better time earlier on. We're gonna throw in another clone. I think we'll do Sergeant. I'm just thinking a moment about one of the Bad Batch, because we could give him a Bad Batch too. This is gonna take too long. We're just gonna auto this. We're just gonna focus on Jolie. This will take some time, but nobody's a threat here to my characters. Did I say everything I wanted to about that pack? I think so. I'm not liking this quiet period between Star Wars Visions and Hawkeye. It was nice that between the variance between the Marvel and the Disney show, or the Marvel and the Star Wars shows, was working, where we could hop on. By the time one was done, we were moving on to the next. It was a nice pace. And now we don't get Hawkeye till... It's Thanksgiving, right, for Hawkeye? So we got like a month to go? And then... So a month for Hawkeye, and then Book of Boba Fett's what, Christmas or something? I feel like doing some solos and dumb stuff. Alright. This Jedi team is probably his strongest team left. We got some whatever teams. I'm just... You know what we can probably do here? I was going to do this with crew, but I think I'm going to do it here. We're just going to... Oh, Obi-Wan's on defense. wanted to do just like bad Jedi. Maybe we do a mirror or a better mirror. Because then that saves, or we do gas. Gas no longer has the clones though, but he doesn't have, let's just do gas. He will probably get through Skywalker though. Unless he marks Ahsoka. We're not going to do that. We're just going to do this. Because this will win, but it's not using up too much. That frees up my other options for all those other teams that are left. Because JML we can use up against like crew with bad Jedi. Then JKL can go up against like his JKL and just crush it. That's... Shaak Ti will trigger Savior fastest because she's the lowest gear. And there goes Savior. Alright, there goes that problem. And from there we can auto. I think I've just been working. I'm trying to think if there's like anything I've been watching that's worth talking about or even interesting. I've just been preparing for fantasy basketball and doing my job. And I put out a few videos speculating on some things, and there's other videos I'm working on. And this Conquest, oh my god, Conquest. That's what I've been doing. Because since I can't listen to a podcast on my phone and I want to lay down, and for some reason I don't like putting a podcast on and just... I want headphones with podcasts. And listening to it ambiently, I don't know, it's like harder to hear, like the random noise in my apartment just makes me have to rewind all the time. I want headphones. Did we selected Jedi Knight Luke, right? Is that how we're playing this? Yeah. I think we can undersize it. Yeah, so I've just been putting on like a movie or a show to watch, but I've been putting on things that are familiar that I've seen a bunch of times. Like I've put on like Game of Thrones episodes or Star Trek or just... Why'd I do that? I just want familiar when I'm not paying attention to something, because my attention's like on the Conquest. We'll come back to that. I don't know how I want to handle it yet. That Relic 8-bit Boba Fett I have, though, it's really fun. I was afraid of that Zeta, of doing that Zeta, that it was just going to be the kind of bloat I don't want on my roster, but it's a lot of fun. That Execute is really strong. I kind of want to use Cam. What if we use other Jedi? Let's use Mace and Plo. Maybe we'll do like Cam, Barris, and Qui-Gon or something dumb. I will have Maul unlocked. I don't, unless they change things on Conquest, I'm never going to do this again. It's been miserable. But Maul is my #1 most wanted character. So I was going to get Maul. That was happening. Yeah. I guess the one thing that I did watch, or I tried to watch, was I started watching Why the Last Man Standing, and I made it 5 minutes because it was really, it was like, I don't want to say poorly made, it was like lazily made. It felt like watching a CBS show, because like CBS for me is the standard of just like the lowest common denominator for television, because the majority of CBS's audience is like 60 years old and older. Like that's why you have like CSI is made the way that it is, why all their shows are built in this really formulaic way that over explains and communicates everything about the show, which I don't like. Semi-recently, like a month or two ago, I tried to watch a show called Evil that's apparently a CBS show, but it was on Netflix. It has the guy who played Luke Cage as one of the main characters, and it has a Dutch woman that I had seen in something, but I can no longer remember what it is that I had seen her. And I'll pull that up while I'm pondering this. We just use gas up against Palpatine. Let's not overthink this. Her name was like Katya something. Yeah, Katya Herbers. What did I see her in? What did I watch? She's from... Oh, she's in Westworld. Yeah, that's what she's from. She's Ed Harris's daughter in Westworld. And I started watching that show, but it's just everything I hate about CBS, where they just... not even a savvy watcher. Anybody who's watched television before just knows exactly what's going to happen, because there's just a formula to television. And when I was watching the first 5 minutes of Why the Last Man, that's what was happening, because I didn't get to any of the good stuff. I made it to the opening scene, and within the first 5 minutes, like, they shoot a shot of a helicopter that's precariously sitting, and he goes, something's going to happen with this helicopter. And then it happens, and it's so contrived. And I was just like, I'm out. I don't like contrivances like that. Like, try harder. And then I saw today that today, maybe it was yesterday, the show has not been renewed, which is, for FX doesn't really cancel shows abruptly like that. They'll either give it a season, or they'll continue shows on, because AMC does the same thing, where they make a lot of money off of streaming, and a lot of their shows, like you take a show, I think it was on AMC, like Halt and Catch Fire, it never really had a big audience on television, but it has a big streaming audience. And I think that's the same with some of the other shows like Legion. And so I was surprised to see that Why the Last Man got... Dude, did I just see Asajj? Did I not put Asajj on defense? That is not like me. I am shocked. Alright, can we Jango solo this? Let me Jango solo this. So I was surprised they canceled it, but because I read the comic, I was a big fan of the comic. I'm going to watch Y the Last Man at some point, like. But I always had problems with the comic as much as I liked it, because I like the writer a lot, Brian. I'm actually reading one of his stuff right now. I'm reading Saga, which is. I don't know, I'm behind on it. It was like a big thing to read like 10 years ago, but I was in grad school and busy and not keeping up with things. But Brian K. Vaughan wrote Y the Last Man, and it's an interesting premise. I'm going to get killed here. Let's just get out of here. I'm going to die. Actually, let's just give it a go. Let's give it a go. Because we gotta revive here. I think we're good. We're good. Yeah, we're gonna die and then we'll blow them up and come back. Let's just double tap him. That'll be enough. Okay, I'm glad I didn't do something stupid like quit. We were fine. That's what I thought was going to happen with the solo. So, with Y the Last Man, my problem with the comic was always that as compelling as I find the premise, and I like that kind of allegorical science fiction, the comic was always over-focused on plot. It was very interested in, throughout its run, exploring what happened, which is not what's interesting about the premise. Like, how you got to a situation where all the men are gone is not interesting. What's interesting about that is the same thing about like a zombie show or a post-apocalyptic show. What is interesting is you've created this new world, this new universe that has its own set of rules. How do people change and operate based on those rules once these like standard variables of our main existence is gone? And the comic did not explore that. The comic was, let's figure out if there's a virus, or figure out if there was a chemical weapon attack, or figure out what happened. And it showed like instances of different ways of the world operating, but it was so much focused on the main character Yorick, who was like designed to be kind of an irritating person, that it was just like, this is not. I thought the comic was focused on the wrong place, and I wanted to see if the show would improve upon the comic, because it's happened with a lot of shows lately, like Umbrella Academy. That show is so much better than the comic. The comic is really baseline and basic, but I find the show really compelling and interesting. The changes made in that show improve upon the foundation of the comic, and I haven't watched the show yet, so I don't really want to get into it because I don't think it's fair to critique it without seeing it. But I have listened to some podcasts on it, and what I've picked up on it is I think my concerns from the comic have not been addressed. That the show is very focused and interested. I keep having to double check what is going on with this team because I'm distracted as I speak. Can I just... it's... They're gonna get through this. Like, I can't use my Night Sisters. Or can I? We shouldn't do it. What kind of bounty hunters do I have? Definitely not doing that. I kind of like the shared stats from my Imperial... No, I'm not going to have them because it's a 3-man team. I'm going to have to take multiple attacks here. Those guys are going to be a problem. I think we're going to start with Traya. I think we isolate... I don't even know who I really want to isolate. Let's isolate Boba Fett so like he can't be called in for assists, but that's not really the main thing here. But at least Mando will have to call in Jango, which considering Jango's Gear 11, that's a better outcome than you could see if Boba Fett was attacking me. Don't. I need to stay. Let me take out Jango. No. No! Alright, we good. We good. We might lose Traya, but we're... No. Alright, we can auto from here. Yeah. It's like one of the contrivances that, from what I understand about the Y the Last Man adaptation, is like the president, or the woman who becomes the president in the show, is now related to the main character, which is not the case in the comic. That is lame. That creates... It's an outlandish coincidence that makes the whole artifice less interesting, because those types of things don't happen to that degree. And it beggars disbelief to do those kinds of things, and the comic didn't do it. So like, why add it? It didn't need that layer. That wasn't one of the problems. And what I wanted was the show to really just interrogate, okay, what are the rules of this world now that you have eliminated men from it? Because that is compelling. Like, that is interesting. Because it's not, you don't want like a post-apocalyptic show that is like, okay, the nuclear bomb went off, but what led to that decision? Like, who cares? The nuclear bombs went off. We don't need to know why the nuclear bombs went off. It's how do people now react in this world? Which opponent did I choose? We'll use it up against the Radis, because the Radis has all the relics. Oh, no, they both have relics. We'll just use it here. I don't want to think about it. I want to move on. We got another account to do. I've talked about this in other videos, but I'm feeling like I might prefer the Executor on offense. Just because the Executor, it survives one battle typically. It always falls in two if the opponent takes out the Razor Crest. Whereas like the Malevolence, what I like about it is even if they take out some ships, because of how the Vulture droids work, it survives. And because of how Unending Loyalty or whatever the Negotiator buff is, it's way more of an annoyance to take out like Jedi Knight Anakin. Taking out the Razor Crest is not really a big deal. The Razor Crest is hard in arenas. Who do I want to... It's the Foresight's messing with me. But the Foresight's going to be there anyway. Alright, let's do it like this. I need my breach. I need to make sure we land a breach, so I'm just going to go over here. Alright, we got a second breach. Because we need to start working towards our specials and our payout. And same thing with zombie shows. Like zombie shows, like who cares why there are zombies? What's interesting is how a society lives within that space and that platform. Because that's what I want out of sci-fi. Like, all good sci-fi is just heavy-handed allegory. Like, everything. Like, Snowpiercer is capitalism is bad. Parasite and Squid Game, those are all interrogating capitalism. You look at, like, Soylent Green is about the fears of the 1970s, which is overpopulation and food scarcity. It's Escape from New York, like that's about just the crime within urban cities in the 1970s. Like that's what all sci-fi is exploring, is just looking at the modern world through changing the setting and altering the rules. What can we learn about modern society? And that's what's interesting. There's really interesting debates and questions about gender right now, and it's actually one of the things that the comic was not directly addressing, because these debates weren't really going on. It was very binary in what kind of questions were being asked, and to set up rules where you can actually be asking those questions. And the podcasts I've listened to have, it sounds more like lip service is being paid to things instead of actually addressing them. And like, then why do it? I don't understand the point of even going through the process if you're not going to take the opportunity. Because then it's a zombie show. Then it's any other post-apocalyptic show. Like, why do you have this setting? Why do you have these rules? And if you're going to do it right. Like, Star Trek is looking at egalitarianism and utopianism and seeing how far you can stretch those concepts into a world. Star Wars is more of a morality play. Like, Star Wars is science fantasy, where like it's much closer to Lord of the Rings than it is to Star Trek, because it's the hero's journey, and it's looking at good versus evil and corruptibility, and like, that's all valid and interesting. But it's taking like the hero's journey and giving it a science fiction setting. Not to say that fantasy isn't capable of doing heavy-handed allegory or being just because that's what Game of Thrones is doing. Game of Thrones is heavy-handed allegory, and I love it for it. Which of these ships do I want to attack? I need to land a debuff. I wish I knew the tenacity of these things. There we go. Alright. We will live to fight another day. Because Game of Thrones, we were looking at... We're looking at the specter of climate change within this society, where all these people care about fighting over their little corners of the world, fighting for the Iron Throne that is irrelevant and doesn't matter in the face of this larger threat, but nobody can get themselves together to actually focus on the actual threat at hand. And then you have also the allegory of nuclear weapons placed upon that with the dragons. We're really... most obviously nuclear weapons, but it's also just the power imbalance between military technology. Okay. I feel like it was pretty good time considering I was rambling and there was extra battles we had to do. But the patter, I don't think there's any feats because I think all these I need rebel fighters and my rebel fighters are on defense. Alright. I'm disappointed. I might use crystals on Fennec Shan and bring her to 4 stars. Alright. We need to go set up now the new account. Let's do that. Alright, we are back. Let's jump into this new account. I am going up against Zordu here. I believe during setup I had some pretty big advantages. We'll take a quick look. His fleet can't match mine. When we look at the inventory here, he's got some high gear characters, but he's got 1 Zeta and it's on Sidious. And I don't think he has key characters unlocked. So he's going to struggle against my defense, and I should be able to stomp him. We'll quickly break down the defensive stuff, talk about how I was thinking about this and approaching it. It's a bit different than last time, because last time we had different teams and weaker teams. He did start up against me, nice. But here's the big change is I've got a pretty decent Darth Revan now. My Geos are fine-ish. Top territory I'll show. Ewoks took 2, and then Night Sisters. I need to double check which Night Sister team I use before. Maybe I want to use Daka instead of Zombie. I was debating that prior. Down below, not that it matters too much, but we got Nute, we've got Basla, and Padme. None of the teams are developed far enough where they're all that dangerous. Let me get rid of this. And then my fleet, did it stand? I expected it to, yeah. Because you saw what he was using in Arena. It's not going to, even a weak rebel fleet like mine is, it's not going to stand up to that. Alright, we got to do a Leia, Phasma. God, I wish I had Nest. I kind of have Nest. I've Nest at 6 stars now, maybe 5 stars, 6 stars, something like that, but not quite geared up and not all the purple ability mats quite yet, but I'll have Nest soon. I'm gonna have a lot by the time this year is up. If it wasn't for the single shard drops, we would have BAM right now too, but I'm still waiting to finish Quill and IG-11. I'm hoping to have them done by the 1 year point on this account. How am I doing this? Yoda, whatever. I want to save most of these teams for the back wall. The Yoda was what gear? Gear 10? The top territory we don't need to think about. This is use my own Jedi here. This is too much. It's way too much. What am I thinking? Probably shouldn't do bounty hunters because he's gonna have tenacity up. And we know there's 3 teams on the back wall. It was Yoda and what? Barris and Old Ben. Alright, we're gonna do this one first. Because this, I know I can take something weak. Because it has that big mistake that I talk about all the time. No. Alright, I know what I'm going to do up against Yoda. There's no attackers here other than Yoda. There is one taunt. But the taunt's on the weakest character. Which means the taunt is going to help the contract. Yoda's gonna rip Mando apart. Let's do Boba Fett. Because then I can use Jango. Let's use Dengar. There's not enough damage with that. No, I need... We're gonna do it. I think this is... We need the contract in order to utilize Mando. I'm a little worried about Yoda and the AoEs, but we should be able to get the contract off semi-quickly by going after Old Ben here. At least that's how I'm thinking about it. And we got our contract. All right, we're just gonna hit auto on the rest of this. Wonderful. This takes too long now. Alright. This does not worry or scare me. I want to use something not great, and I really want to try out the Imperial Troopers. But my Imperial Troopers are real not good. We're gonna do that. Because this has that issue that I bring up all the time. Without the Zeta on 5s, these guys are useless. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit, which of these guys is weaker. I'm going to try and take out Rex first. And there we go. This without the Zeta, they're easier because all that gear on 5s became irrelevant because I was able to just force the sacrifice and take them out. Alright, this back wall here, what do we have? Alright, we got Phoenix, we got Bounty Hunters, and more Phoenix. Alright. What's the strongest? Is Bounty Hunters the strongest team? We got my Jedi, we've got my CLS. We can technically make 2 CLS teams. That's 3 teams. We need another 2 teams. We still have Palpatine, so that's 4 teams. What's my 5th team? We got Jango still. Yes, we have Old Republic if we want it. We have JTR. God, we have so much. Doesn't really matter. Let's let's do the Bounty Hunter one first. I think the lower territories are all tougher. I think we're just gonna auto everything. Did I make squads for this? It's not the squad I want. Oh, my C-3PO is real bad. In terms of the new things I have for the squad, it's my Shaak. Oh, I have Shaak Ti too. My Shaak Ti is much better. We technically have Nest now. I haven't unlocked Cyan and Darth Nihilus yet, but I'm farming them. I've just left them unlocked because Traya is, I think I'm at 120 out of 145 shards. So Traya is I don't know, let's think about it. 25, so 7, so 4 heroic Sith raids, because I'm not really participating, so I'm only going to get 7 shards. But so 4 heroic Sith raids away from, and let's just say 4 weeks. Then it's probably going to be more like 3.5 weeks. But by then, my Nihilus and Cyan might be done. Or at least they'll definitely be 5 stars. I think they're already 5 stars. They might be 6 stars. Let's do another Rebel team, I guess. Oh, and Mon Mothma is the other one I was going to bring up. My Mon Mothma is in a very strong position in terms of farming. She's almost done. It's just the Zetas for her. And I'm going to just pair her with Rebel fighters who are also pilots. So at the same time she's put together, my pilots are getting stronger. And even though once I hit the 1 year point, I won't put the new account on these Grand Arena videos, I think I'm just going to I'm going to move those to Twitch. The account's going to stay. I think what I want to do with that account is bring everything to Gear 11 there and just let that account remain as the Gear 11 testing ground, because requirements for my main account is just it's pulling away a lot of those Gear 11 squads that I used to be using, like bounty hunters or troopers. Like their key characters are being pulled out and turned into relics. You can see the quality of the characters that I farm. And you can get higher gear than I have, but The point I'm making with this account is the gear is less significant than the game makes you feel like. The quality farms matter, and I'm trying to build quality teams faster than other players. I think I'll put out a new account video. Maybe this weekend. I'll do that. Just more of a check-in. Really, the only thing I've done since the last video, I think, is... No, I think I did the last video at JTR. We've got Houndstooth at 7 stars now. We did take a little break on the Houndstooth at one point. We're going to have Malik and Beskar Mando. You need what, an Empire character? Just take Tarkin. I don't want to look for anybody. Malik and Beskar Mando will have by the end of the year point. Gas, I'm going to gear up the requirements. We have them all farmed. Except what we don't have, which is going to mess up everything, is I can't get Mace's capital ship to 7 stars by then. I think it has to be at 7 stars. I think it would have been possible, but I did not prioritize beating that Mace event because it was a massive pain, and I just waited until I think I had like the Houndstooth farmed up or whatever his ships farmed up higher. If I would have prioritized that event a little earlier, it would have given me the time I needed to get Mace to 7 stars, or his capital ship to 7 stars. Because I think Tarkin's going to be there. Because the home one might get to 7 stars within another couple go-arounds. Oh, that's CLS. Why isn't he the leader? I just assumed that was Farm Boy because he wasn't the leader. I'm gonna... Don't die. Come on, take him out. Come on. Yes! They got him. Can you... No, Rex is gonna die. If I realized that was CLS and not Farm Boy Luke, I would have taken in a stronger team. Let's just bring in my JTR. You can see how weak my JTR is. I would have been farming the Resistance heroes. They're far past... well, Poe is done. Because he was on the same node as... I don't know, like IG-2000 or no, he was on the same node as Piet. And Finn, I'm farming. I think he's definitely at 4 stars. He might be at 5 stars. But I'm going to have a good JTR team, too, by the 1 year point. It would be nice if I can get Resistance Hero Finn done, because then just the amount of teams I'm going to have, it's going to be pretty ridiculous. And then we can take the time to gear them. But the goal has been to build just an unbeatable foundation from as quickly as possible, as early as possible, and then build on it. Like, you don't need to get ahead of yourself. The only game mode it hurts you in is Squad Arena. Fleet Arena is arguable. Alright. We'll just auto this and we'll be done in a moment. And then I'm going to bed. This guy just doesn't care about fleets. He doesn't know anything about it. You can tell from the teams he uses in Fleet Arena, but also just like Phantom on the starting line, it always communicates that. Okay, that's a win. We are going to call it a day. There's nothing to claim or worry about here. I'm now, instead of going to bed, I have the miserable project of doing Conquest. Great game. Be safe out there, everyone. Be excellent to each other. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.